Have you noticed how financial advisors always talk about your retirement number? If you save this much or you invest this way or do Roth conversions at this time, and you'll be set for life. But here's what nobody tells you until it's too late. The biggest threat to your retirement isn't money mistakes or running out of savings. In fact, for someone like you, the chance of running out of money is actually quite low. And you know how I know that? It's kind of simple because you're watching this video right now. You care enough and you want to learn and educate yourself. People who take that initiative to search for financial guidance, they typically follow through and they take action on that. And the folks who truly experience hardship in retirement, it's usually those who ignore financial planning altogether. They don't watch videos like this. They don't seek out advice. So for you, running out of money likely isn't your biggest retirement threat. The real danger is something entirely different. It's running out of meaning in retirement. It's not living your best and most fulfilled life that you've earned up until this point. It's not living up to who you were meant to be. In fact, hospice nurse Bronnie Ware, she wrote a book and she spent time caring for patients in their last week of their lives or weeks of their lives. She documented the number one regret of the dying, and that was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not to the life others expected of me. People looking back, they realized they'd left too many dreams unfulfilled, too many aspects of themselves unexpressed. And retirement, it gives you one last precious chance to avoid that same regret. So what do we do to make retirement the most meaningful and fulfilling period of life? Well, I'll give you 4 practical things that the happiest retirees do every day. Now, they might not do all 4 of these every single day, but knowing these 4, it's going to help you on your journey. And if you're a subscriber to this channel, you may have heard some of these before, but in this video, I'll give you some specific examples of how to do these each day. It's actually easier than you think. And not too long ago, I applied one of these to my own life. I went to the doctor for an EMG procedure. So if you've ever had one of those, then I'm sorry you had to go through that. If you don't know what it is, it's essentially they run electrical currents through our muscles or through my muscles, and they stick needles in the muscles near the spine and the legs and things like that. As I was going into the procedure, I remembered an experience from a previous neurologist that I had last year, and he had rushed through the procedure, making it really quite uncomfortable and made it even worse than I thought it was going to be. So when my new doctor entered the room, I could see he had some fatigue in his eyes, and he probably had seen dozens of patients already that day that he might have been operating on, and maybe he was on autopilot. And I realized that doctors, they've got it tough because they just have to cycle through patients nonstop. So instead of being just another patient, as I was getting prepped, I decided to ask him, so how did you get into this specialty? How'd you get into this field? And he perked up a little bit, and his mind kind of, you could see him go back to his teen years, and he started to explain when he wanted to become a doctor and how he actually got into this specialty and into neurology. So I listened to him and I asked some follow-up questions because I was curious about his field and about him. And then I said sincerely, I could tell that you're passionate about this and that you're good at what you do. And he sat up a little bit straighter and he smiled and he said, thanks, I really do enjoy it. And then we got into the procedure and it went quite smoothly. And I left feeling like I'd maybe made a small contribution to his day. That wasn't anything extraordinary. It was just showing some genuine interest in another human being. And that first step is what happy retirees practice on a daily level. And that is contributions to others. And it could also be contribution to something bigger than yourself. Now, it doesn't have to be big. It could be a smile at a stranger. You know, worst thing they could do is give you a nasty look. So what? Or when you're taking a walk, telling the landscaper who's mowing the lawn, I can see that you do excellent work, or commenting on someone doing their craft. You know, it could be telling the barista how much you like the cappuccino that she just made for you. People want to know that they matter and what they're doing matters. I mean, I like it when someone takes interest in me. So when you can contribute to their life, it actually contributes to your life too. And if you pause right now and think a little bit about contribution, what are some ways you can contribute to others? It could be contributing to individuals. It could be contributing to charities or causes or things that you care about as well. But let's move on to the second thing that the happiest retirees do. And it's something that's easy to get while we're working, but it takes a lot more effort when we're retired. And it's a feeling of progress or accomplishment or growth, because our brains are wired to find joy in progress and creation. And creating something every day is really, that's the practical step. It doesn't have to be big either. Here's a few examples. It could be cleaning up or tidying up an area of your house. That's some progress for the day. Or building something in your workshop. It could be fixing a broken refrigerator, and I'm talking to one of you specifically that I talked to you recently. It could also be writing a YouTube video script. I find creation in that. It could be writing your memoirs or starting a blog or tending a garden or learning to paint or play an instrument. Really, the form doesn't matter. What matters is seeing progress and experiencing that satisfaction of creation. Because when you create, you push back against that feeling of irrelevance that sometimes sneaks into retirement. And you're giving yourself tangible evidence that you still matter and that you can still contribute value to the world.